welcome to Data Center Strategics Singapore 2009. I'm happy to say that I have Mr. Frank Huang with me today. Mr. Huang is the Product Marketing Manager for Raritan, Asia Pacific, and he spoke today on power at the rack designs to improve uptime, capacity planning, and efficiency. Mr. Huang, if you could give our viewers just a little bit of an overview of what you delivered today in the conference hall and how your topic went.
Yes, basically I will actually say was shared. I shared some information with the crowd today to tell the audience about all our Raritan's experience worldwide and predominantly here in APAC regions. Obviously Singapore is a very advanced city. A lot of governments as well as finance people, business would like to move into the green data center area. Only recent year we start to see data center are being more aware of the green data center, and they are more conscious about how much they've been spending to power. So today at the presentation, I simply introduced the concept of measuring why they need to measure the power consumption in the data center down to the outlet level, as the market is there's no particular standard at the moment. And so in a way you can say education. They need to understand how they should manage and measure the data center, enable them to understand it so well so they can do some changes to improve the efficiency.
So in essence, if they're not managing it, they have no way to measure it.
Correct. There's also saying you can't manage if you don't measure.
Okay.
Right. And even though that statement is somewhat 10 or 20 years ago in the IT department, but still up to date, that phrase is still quite true. So obviously, if you don't measure, there's no way you know what's the current status inside the data center. And so there's little thing you could do. You don't even know where to start to change. So once you get enough information, you measure, you get enough information, and based on those information, then you can take the necessary step to the next level.
Now I know Raritan is poised to be one of the industry leaders in power management in the industry and IT data centers. What uniqueness do you see in the Singaporean market with data centers, or is it generally the same throughout the world?
At the moment, we would say it's more of a general trend. Especially we can see a very fast movement from the finance and banking sector. As is more security, importance of where the finance and banking industries are, they have this more awareness of how important their servers or their data centers are, so they must be careful on how much money they actually pull into the power consumption or the billing they're pulling into. So this is the trend we actually start to look at the moment. Banking, finance, the number one. People actually are moving into this direction. Secondly, government, they're following very, very close behind. But then slowly we start to see people, even down to SMB, small middle business, they also start to show interest, wanting to be part of this.
That's interesting. I was going to touch on the difference between the small, medium-sized business and the world-class data centers. Obviously, Raritan brings a product to the table that can be used throughout that whole spectrum.
Correct.
As a delegate, when I come to the conference and I hear you speak about Raritan solutions, what can I expect to take back to talk to my director and say, here's what I want in my data center?
Okay. Just as I was talking about it in the presentation, measurement obviously is a key number one thing. We need to measure to collect information. Then the second thing is we need to be able to generate some sort of report. So for the management people, they can look at the past history and they can look at the present. Even further, they can see a trend and maybe forecast the future, how much power may be used in the next few months or next quarter. If they have that sort of information data from the past year and they can compare about the same month, then they can start to see a trend. And I wouldn't say budget, but they can kind of plan for it. Right. They'll be prepared for how much they pay. For example, during summer, most of the energy will be used, and they can be careful on that just to avoid blackouts. Okay, so that is something that the message being given to the audience, given to you. So for example, you can take this back to the senior level, senior managers about they have this great product, can generate analytical reports. You can even configure in such a way that you can see whatever you want to see. Okay, so that will save IT manager a lot of time to explain what the grades graph is. The report is very much self-explanatory. So the senior managers, they can simply go through the report. They will understand how exactly each device in the server rooms are actually doing and how much power actually been consuming in sense of money, in dollar and cents.
Now, you probably had a good mix in the audience of both IT managers, data center managers, and IT executives.
Yes.
It sounds like you bring a solution and the ability to report at every one of these levels to the table.
That's correct. Facility people, IT people, they all have different needs. I'm not saying one is more important than the other, but this is one important things that we bring to the table is we have the one solution that will satisfy everyone's need, so they will not need to argue my solution is better than yours, and mine is more important than yours. Then this is one solution we call Power IQ plus the PDUs that will simply satisfy both facility, IT, as well as the senior management people.
So as a data center manager, I can come to Raritan and know that the solutions I need can be presented very well, and it'll poise me to handle everything that my manager asks.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate your time. I thank you so much for coming and speaking to us
It's a pleasure.
about technology. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.